My name is Naira. I'm from ASNET AM, and will be chairing the lightning talk session in this conference. Lightning talk sessions are something similar to lightning in the dark sky of in the dark sky. So I hope that our session will also be a bright place in the sky of our EaPEC conference today. So we have a wide variety of topics. I would like to ask the presenters to keep short and follow the time. Have the presentation 5 minutes. I will help them with this to handle. And let's discover the variety of topics that we prepared for you today. And I want to present our first lightning talk speaker, George Cohen from Cyprus and Miran. And the topic will be about the reforming an Miran and the support of GIANT. Welcome.
I have to press this one. Next. Good afternoon. My name is George Cohen, and I'm responsible for the Cynet, the Cypriot NREN. These 2 days, you have heard a lot about GIANT and how it can help, but I wanted to give some practical information, and that's why I'm going to talk about Cynet. So, what are the major milestones, the history? As you know, Cynet created as an entity back in 1995, and as you can see, the major task is to provide network services to academic and research community, because back then what was important was the network services. There was a change in 2000 when we became independent, and as you can see, we have added the infrastructure and e-services, not only network, but only e-services. Unfortunately, due to some financial issues that we faced in Cyprus, and also because Cyprus became part of the European Union, so the universities couldn't take connectivity directly without having a procurement. In 2013, we had the termination of governmental funding. That means that Cynet was in a position that it was opened to the competition, and it didn't have the knowledge. So things went very bad, and until 2016, that the board of directors decided that something has to be changed, so there was a need for a new approach in order to survive. What is the first thing that you need when you are transforming an organization? A business plan. I have prepared a lot of business plans for commercial companies, startups, things like that, but never for an NREN. I didn't know what was exactly an NREN when I became responsible for it. So we asked for support from the GIANT. And the GIANT help us by providing business plan templates from other NRENs, also success stories, which is very important because we don't have to invent the wheel again. Other NRENs send us their success stories, and also GIANT supported the visit of an expert to help on site to write with us the new business plan. International connectivity. As I told you before, we managed to survive until 2016 because we had the connectivity through GIANT and the EduRoam. But that was becoming obsolete through these years. And then I give you a specific example how you can build a case. In Cyprus, everybody needs the national connectivity that can support the needs of their members. But in Cyprus, we had a specific need. We have a lot of students from Greece that they're attending online courses in Cyprus. So the latency between Cyprus and Greece was a very important factor for us. And what we did, the latency was very bad back in 2016. We contacted the Network Operations Center of ZEANT, and we told them that this is our problem. And they came back to us and say, if you can build a case, you can justify that you have this need, we are going to help you. And guess what? They even gave us the data that the latency was big. And they came back with a solution. As you see, now we have 2.2 gigabits connection with London and Frankfurt, and we also have a direct connection, 1+1 with Athens. I have to speed up, okay. Recently, we have also a need for 10 gigabits. So how can we accommodate this? By participating in the Southeast Europe regional studies. How much minutes I have? Half a minute, okay. I'm skipping this, and I'm saying that the National Dark Fiber, okay, I will go fast with this, that they gave us all keep in mind that we are only 3 employees. So this is how ZEANT can help us, but I'm going to the 2 major slides, and I need 1 more minute. What is our competition? Other telcos. So how can we differentiate from them with the help of ZEANT? By building new services. This is the services that we have implemented the last 3 years with the help of the ZEANT. And now this is under development, and I need just half a minute to mention about network management as a service. And I'm here that Arthur is here because NRN is helping us a lot with this topic. And it's a great help for all the NRNs that don't have the capacity to manage their own network. The most important to keep your members is to create an effective ecosystem, and how this can be done through training events. The last years we have more than 10 training events in Cyprus, and the last one that I want to mention was 2 days marathon, an IDP marathon, which was a hands-on, and the results were fantastic, and every NRN can take advantage of this. If you want more information, you can contact me or Irina. Where is Irina? It was somewhere here. And to conclude, I have to say that all the major transformations in SciNet that made it sustainable could not have been accomplished without the support of the ZEANT. If I have to pass a message, is that whenever you are facing an issue, just ask for the support. There are special interest groups, there are mailing lists, there are community support teams. There are other NRENs that are willing to help. We are not the exception. This is how the whole ecosystem is working. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, George. I want to let you know that at the end of the session, we will have a dedicated time for question and answer. Please keep your questions, and you will have a chance to ask them. And I think the first impression is very important, and when you are submitting a talk, the first impression is the title. So the next speak is by Peter Lowe with an interesting title, What Color is Your Open Science Parachute? Let's see.
Hello, everybody. I guess I'm picking up where Annabelle left us yesterday afternoon. Before I get started, I just want to have a quick show of hands from you guys. Who has an orchid? And I don't mean the flower, I mean their research identifier. Anybody? Come on. 1. Okay, we have to work on that. Okay, who has ever registered a DOI, a digital object identifier? 1. on. Okay, there's some family in the room. That's good. All right, let's get started with this. So, what color is your open science parachute? I'm going to try to scare you, to intimidate you, to feel insecure, but I also want to show you help and remedy, provided it works. Okay, one buzzword that I haven't heard in this conference yet is the so-called fourth paradigm. Well, here in this National Library, there are many books about old science which are really outstanding and beautiful. If you haven't taken the tour, I totally recommend it. And it is said that the first paradigm of science was empirical science for millennia. Then there came theoretical science. And during the last century, we saw the rise of computational science. And now, 10 years ago, a new paradigm was named, at least. It's the fourth paradigm. There's a nice book on it on the internet, which is freely downloadable. It's called the paradigm of data-driven science. Okay. In this book, The Fourth Paradigm, there is an article by the late Mr. Jim Gray, who in a nutshell says that the speed of the advancement of scientific disciplines depends on the technology and also the capability to communicate and collaborate with each other based on modern technologies like databases, etc. There's another topic which has been addressed yesterday, open science. Open science actually is an old thing. It dates from the 16th century, and the pillars of the open science umbrella, if you like, are open access for librarians, open data for data librarians, and open source software. Unfortunately, depending on which field of science you're involved in, the definitions of openness varies, or it is even rejected. So because of that, if something can't be open, like for example in social sciences, there is highly restricted data or medical science which will never be open. But at least it can be made fair, which means findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. You heard that song before. Okay. However, the devil is in the details, because when we look underneath that acronym, it unfolds into several solutions and aspects. And that's where things get a little bit slippery, because some of that already works in some fields, not in others. Some of the stuff might come next, but what is that? What's planned? What's on the horizon? So that's where I want you to feel a little bit insecure. At least I'm feeling insecure when it comes to that, because I know that these are pressing questions, and I don't have answers for all of them. So also I recall yesterday somebody said, this conference is where history is happening. I brought you another quote from a guy called William Gibson. The future is already here. So this is not just history, but it's the future. It's just not evenly distributed amongst the fields. So what about that colored parachute? I took that from a book. You can buy it. It's called What Color is Your Parachute? And it's for young people trying to find their jobs. And the idea is it's just like the tail feathers. It's just like what you are, what is your specialities. And so they say that nowadays change is happening so rapidly, you've got to pay close attention to stay and to stay up to date. And this applies both for early career scientists and all of us who have been in the field for quite a long time. Because either the young guys won't get a job ever and become taxi drivers, we don't want that, and everybody else will have to look up for other jobs as well. Also not very preferable. So to come back to what we're talking about, open science, e-science, data science, there are all these topics. Like I asked you about DOIs and ORCIDs, which are established infrastructures. We have that already. There are data providers, just like this. I'm doing cruel name dropping on you, I know that. Okay, so there's data science and Crossref. There are elaborate services, and there's also the EU services like the EOSC, DARIA, etc. Okay, I have 1 minute, and I'm going to use it. Okay, so for everybody who's a provider of data infrastructures, these are the guiding stars, or at least they can be. Never mind where you are standing right now. If you establish that, general information, quality standards, policy, etc., and make your repository registerable in the RIS3 data, that's a good way to go, definitely. Can't be a wrong way. And for the young ones, the early career researchers, make your science discoverable and reusable. Pick up on these new concepts and demand these services from your peers. And how to do that, how to get into that. There are societies where you can participate free of charge, Research Data Alliance, the First 11 Group for Software Citation, the so-called data carpentries or software carpentry projects. And for the librarians among you, that's 23 things, which is about open science. So the conclusion, I hope I'm using my time wisely, the times are changing, definitely. Reap the day, carpe diem, add some color to your parachute, to what makes you outstanding, and just mind the statistics down there. You see these fiber graphs? That's the number of data of DOIs minted every year. On the far right, the number of data carpentry or workshops, which are free of charge. Talk to these communities. They will come to your house. They have volunteers to work with you. It's an uphill battle. The devil is in the details, but get some colors on your parachute. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for a nice talk and for a nice advice to add a color to your parachute. I would advise also to add color, try to add color to each day of yours to make it interesting. So let's move to our next talk. It's a hot topic globally, and also it's one of the topics in our conference. Ruben Miran. He will talk about the cybersecurity architecture and Armenian national policy. Thank you. I will show you the last minute.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, my topic is not as impressive as the topic of the previous speaker, but I will try my best. So, the topic is, as was presented, my name is Ruben. I'm specializing in international relations. Actually, this presentation is kind of a result of 1 year research. That's why it would be kind of complicated to present during 5 minutes. But anyway, that's why I will try to focus on kind of main parts and jump from one thing to another. At the same time, it would be my pleasure to discuss and have questions, take questions afterwards. So I will concentrate on two things: threats and ways to tackle with these threats. So talking about threats, I'm looking through national, regional, and global levels. And the ways to tackle is kind of national level and international cooperation. So whenever we are talking about cybersecurity threats to Armenia, towards Armenia on national level, so it's about threats to critical cyber infrastructure, lack of high quality cybersecurity specialists, brain drain, limited digital literacy, to free internet, to liberal internet area in Armenia. And two more things. The one thing was discussed basically yesterday and was presented by Magdalena, if I'm not wrong. So it's lack of information on breaches. We have like very important and kind of controversial problem on this. And the second one, as it was pointed out by during one of my expert interviews, is kind of Armenian mindset, what means business in Armenia doesn't want to pay for cybersecurity. Whenever it comes to threats on regional security, it's first of all conflict around, Nagorno-Karabakh conflict and confrontation with Azerbaijan and Turkey with regard to Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, which moves also to cyber domain. The next one is state-sponsored attacks. So whenever we are talking about the first thing about Azerbaijan and Turkey, it also comes with that one. But this states, why I put it here, because it's kind of different one and comes from like various stakeholders in the region, and it basically directed against, let's say, policymakers, journalists, to frame public opinion and also to kind of change public opinion and also receive information. And the last one is attacks against banking system. It's rather technical for this one. It's attacks against banking system in Armenia, which is getting more and more widespread. Whenever it comes to global level, so it's rising great power competition between East and West, West and Russia, which makes small countries in the region to make their choice, and also with regard to cybersecurity. And the second one, of course, is international crime and terrorism, which is also like spreading through cyber domain. So, and how Armenia deals with this. So, first of all, it's national level, and the second one is international cooperation. So, whenever it comes to national strategic approach, we have, as you can see, a bunch of strategic documents which kind of frame relation or attitude or vision towards cybersecurity and understanding of cybersecurity issues inside Armenia. But anyway, at the end of the day, at this moment we have this problem in Armenia, the problem of vision and the problem of means for providing cybersecurity. If you want me, I can elaborate on this later. And with regard to international cooperation, I divided it into two parts. So it's collective security and collective defense. So with regard to collective security, it's cooperation with UN, OSCE, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and of course, International Atomic Energy Agency. But the problem is, and why I put this huge, massive text over here, it's an extract from the speech of OSCE Secretary General Thomas Greminger, and the idea is that there is an understanding in international organizations to deal with cybersecurity, but in terms of means which are being provided by member states. So at this point, international organizations do not have this capacity to help their member states to tackle with cybersecurity issues, so it doesn't work. With regard to collective defense, two organizations, so it's with regard to cooperation of Armenia, so it's NATO and Russia-led CSTO. So whenever it comes to NATO, there is rather deep cooperation with NATO, but it's mostly about trainings of military personnel in Armenia and stuff like this. That's why on one hand it's very useful, on the other hand there are large room for cooperation. Whenever it comes to CSTO, we know it's a political military organization. However, there are several issues. For instance, as in NATO Charter, there is Article 5. So in CSTO Charter, there is Article 4 for mutual cooperation, mutual help. But we don't understand from strategic documents in CSTO if this applies also to cybersecurity domain. This is one thing. There is also a problem of understanding between notions of information security and cybersecurity. Inside the organization, we also have the problem of establishing of a kind of joint center. There was an announcement to establish, but nothing happened. And the only working thing which we see in CSTO is so-called proxy. So member states cooperate to tackle dangerous information websites. So since 2012, if I'm not wrong, 80,000 different websites were closed. And the conclusion is that nowadays Armenia is in the process of the development of its cybersecurity capabilities. So first of all, it should of course come with the understanding, provision of the vision towards a provision of cybersecurity, and then of course to provide all the operational and tactical domain. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben, for interesting talk and interesting data about the current state of Armenia. And our next talk, being in Matenadaran and talking about the languages, I think it's reasonable. Hanna Karpenka will speak about the Russification of open science services for beneficiary partners of EAP Connect project.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hanna Karpenka. I'm a PhD student and the head of the Council of Young Scientists of the United Institute of Informatics Problem of the National Academy of the Science. Today I would like to represent to you my idea of how we can support the goals of open science and how we can increase the data set. My topic today is Russification of open science services for beneficiary partners of EAP Connect. Nowadays, it is really important for scientists to have opportunity to share their data. As Mark de Wiltongen states, good data management is the key candidate leading to knowledge, discovery, and innovation. As we know, English is language of science. Today, mass media give you unlimited access to all knowledge which you are interested in. There is only one problem: almost of this data are in English. Then why I would like to speak about Russification. Firstly, according to the research of 2015, Russian language is ranked number 8 in the world in terms of the numbers of speakers, and Russian language is number 1 for countries which are beneficiary partners. In this chart, you can see number of people speaking Russian compared to all numbers which are living in that countries. On average, 70% of full population is Russian speaking. How about English in that countries? I decided to manage it by EFEP index. EFEP index is the world's largest ranking of country by English skills. The last edition of EFEP index is based on the data from 1,030,000 test takers. EFEP proficiency band have 5 steps: high, very high, moderate, low, and very low. On that peak, you can see the bands for all countries which are included in that research. And we can manage the EFEP index for beneficiary partners are moderate, low, and very low. So can we find any connection between English skills and using open science services? I decided to check it by the Zenoda service. On this slide, you can see number of publications on Zenoda by country which are beneficiary partners and by top 6 by EFEP index. And how we can manage difference is really big. By EFEP research, we also can manage the global age by English proficiency. And we can see that the one target group is people older than 41 can be not really possible to use the services. And now I would like to move to some conclusions. The development of interface in Russian, it is really important for good data sharing, for creating new community, and to do European scientific community really open. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Hannah, for interesting talk and keeping the time. So let's move our next speaker, and the next topic is by Levon Aslanyan about a very interesting initiative, Idealist Project.
Good afternoon, my colleagues. In difference of previous presentations, my presentation is very practical, which means that I will give you information, practical information, and I will speak about Idealist project. Idealist is a Horizon 2020 project. And the current name is Idealist 2020. The first project in this line, this was a line of projects, was so the first project was in 1996, and it was combining all information communication technology national contact points to European framework programs. And after that came many Idealist projects, and the current one I told is Horizon is Idealist 2020. We have here 48 members, 48 countries and their national contact points. My name is Levon Aslanyan. I am speaking about this because I am Information and Communication Technologies National Contact Point to Horizon program from Armenia. But also I'm a researcher in Institute for Informatics and Automation Problems. And in a short, having very short time, I will combine my two positions in one presentation. When we have a society of all NCPs, Information Communication Technologies, in one place, what they do, they try to improve their services to their clients, to proposers, to stakeholders, ICT. And of course, they develop some tools to simplify, to harmonize their work. Here you see some of these tools. Probably it's to mention only some of them, not all. Let's say a brokerage event. These are big conferences with face-to-face meetings, with discussions, with presentation from commission, etc., etc. One of these brokerage events was in Helsinki 1 week ago. And the European Commission presented in that brokerage event 2 new calls for proposals to Horizon 2020 in area of information communication technologies. These 2 integrated calls where we have some 30 or 40 research topics. This will happen this year and next year. After that will come Horizon Europe program, which is under development. Next tool to mention is partner search, partner match and search. Of course, today we have different means to do partner search for proposal preparation, for consortium composition. But the one which is here in Idealist project is working very well, well established. It's to say a couple of words. This is a very large network of people, network of stakeholders. I told that in current Idealist we have 48 countries. In each country we have networks, and this partner search is a combination, integration of all these networks. So finally we have there many tens of thousands people, equal people. Each of them is a node of this network. One node of this network can generate some proposal, may activate some research idea in this society, then distributing through the project website, project server, he can receive a lot of responses, which we call them expression of interest. And having these responses, they may compose the consortium to find the best coordinator to continue with proposal preparation. And I want to make also one point, one tool in this line, which is pre-proposal check and full proposal review. Because of among NCPs, we have newcomers, but also we have experienced national contact points. This group is able to provide this kind of services. Each year we are organizing 1 or 2 times these sessions, and our call is open in internet. Who applies, they can participate and receive our comments and improvements and continuation. So one of the newest services is this topic 3, because of in Horizon 2020 there are a lot of research topics, research objectives. People use each research objective in different terms, in different situations. So it is confusing sometimes to find the real call for proposal. And this network is created, this tree is created to help proposers to find the right point, right call for proposals in Horizon 2020. Now, these are contacts. And now I will tell you about one use case. One case when we tried to use these tools, the idealist support. This is a classification problem. This is a regular classification problem. Now we call it part of machine learning, etc., but this is mathematical classification problem. We have classes C1, Cm, let it be C1 and C2, two classes. We have objects and their descriptions. Descriptions are rows. We will, in my team, in my group, small group, where we try to generate this idea and apply this idea to Horizon 2020, we consider a particular case of this framework, this model, when features, which are x1, x2, xn, features are very, very many. This is coming from genomic research area. In genomic research area, when we use gene expression information to understand the difference, to classify, to differentiate the normal case from the other case, we use gene expression, which means that this x1, xn can be very long. Very long means, in this case, 3.2 billion positions. This is not a regular problem, mathematical or problem of pattern recognition of machine learning. This becomes a very special case. We call this high-dimensional, low sample size data analysis. This is one of particular models in big data analytics. Because of regular approaches doesn't work here, we have to invent something specific to be able to work with this very large number of features. So what we do, we call it support set structure and for high-dimensional low sample size data. I will be I can speak very short about this, of course. This is mathematical, technical, and this kind of thing. So I only bring some graphic presentation where we demonstrate that the problem of classification in array of high-dimensional low sample size data can work with some smaller subset of features. Features were x1, x2, xn. So we can work only with small subsets, some groups of features. Here in this picture, we show that in data mining, this is also big data analytics. In data mining, we have a special part, association rule mining. In association rule mining, we have a concept of frequent set, which is very key element of these theories. And in this diagram, we show that the support sets that we use in this case and frequent sets in data mining, in association rule mining, are complementary areas of this grid. In this structure, mathematical combinatorial grid. Because of this, we proved that this problem can be solved. So, which is our idea? Our idea is that we are formulating this idea like we put it in format of idealist partner search. We will distribute this in our network. After receiving expression of interest, of course, we will compose some consortium. And in other hand, using the topic 3, I told you, we found out that the closest call for proposal that will come now is ICT 51-2020, Big Data Technologies and Extreme Scale Analytics. This is my presentation. Thank you. Use Idealist and services and apply to Horizon 2020.
Thank you very much for the interesting talk. The main challenge of chairing lightning talks is you have to stop the speaker when it's very interesting, but I need. So let's go past to the next speaker. Our Eimantas Serpenksas will speak about the Identity Federation, which is a topic of interest in research and education community.
Hello everyone. My name is Eimantas. I'm from Lithuanian educational network, LitNet, and I will share you some ideas how to grow your identity federation. So I think that most of you are using EduGain services, sometimes even not knowing about that. So EduGain is crucial for research and education. You can see some crazy numbers, how large is community that are using EduGain services. EduGain is a little bit similar to EduROM, but EduROM is for authentication of wireless networks. EduGain is for authentication of web-based systems. So 5 of 6 EaPConnect countries are already members of EduGain Identity Federation. I have checked, usually there are 1 or 2 identity providers in each country. It's not a very large amount. So you need to put additional effort to grow your identity federation. It's a very good idea to start from some kind of informational website. You can use any tools available. Maybe you like WordPress or Joomla or any other open source or paid products. You can help your clients by hosting some services. There are some institutions that already use some kind of user databases. Some institutions doesn't. So you can host a single sign-on service. You can host identity management service. Of course, you need to organize support. It could be simply phone-based, email-based, or you could use some help desk systems available, as well as popular chats. Newbies usually are afraid of doing something new, to experiment, so it's a good idea to set up something like sandbox, like test federation, to try everything. You could prepare some tools to check compliance of your services to the EduGain policy. You could and should prepare some candies for your organizations, because there are lots of services that are easy integratable into a federation, and it could be run in the site of academical network. Of course, you probably have some yearly conferences and other events, so you can prepare some trainings for your community members. It's very important to monitor the health of your federation, because there could be some services that are not working and nobody cares about that. And of course, don't forget to upgrade your knowledge yourself. There are lots of international conferences. There are some mailing lists that you can ask questions and get answers. And if you did everything right, for the next autumn, you can expect very good yield. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Eimantas, for nice talk and beautiful slides also. And before the conference, we had an evening with Lola concert, which was a good showcase what the entrants have already gained with the support of EAP Connect project as a service. And now another good example is the next talk about the cultural heritage online, about which we will listen a talk by Thomas Pargola and Tigran. Please come, Tigran Zargaryan, and please keep the time.
Okay, so hello everybody. So I'm Tomasz, and together with Tigran we will give you an update on the work related to cultural heritage online in the context of EAP Connect project. So I'm from PSNC from Poland, and Tigran is from Fundamental Scientific Library in Armenia. So first I'd like to give you a background of our work. So PSNC is operator of research and development network in Poland, and we've been working on making cultural heritage objects online in Poland since 1999. In 2002, we were able to deploy the first regional digital library in Poland, Wielkopolska Digital Library. It was done in collaboration with cultural heritage institutions in Poznań. And well, with time, we developed further, and currently we already have 140 deployments of digital libraries. PSNC provides technology, tools, and expertise in this context, and cultural heritage institutions provide their content. Now they altogether provide more than 6.5 million of digital objects, and we were also able to set up in 2007 a countrywide metadata aggregator, which is called FBC and is connected to Europeana, so European Digital Library. And based on this expertise, not only related to Poland, but also related to our tight cooperation with Europeana, or European Impact Center of Competence in Digitization, or Open Preservation Foundation, where we are members. Based on that, we wanted to implement similar approach in the context of this project, EAP Connect. So institutions from 3 countries decided to follow this path and try to do it. So institutions from Armenia, Belarus, and Ukraine. And we already gained some nice results. There are already web portals available. You can see the links, and you can see how they look like. What is really important is that in each case there is a collaboration between CHI, so Cultural Heritage Institution, and NREN, respective NREN. And also what I would like to stress is that in Armenia it was really successful, in my opinion, because they already were able to provide more than 8,000 digital objects online within the time of these activities. So now I'd like to give the floor to Tigran to tell you a bit more about that.
Thank you, dear colleagues. As a representative of the Fundamental Scientific Library of the Academy of Sciences of Armenia, we'll present some practical outcomes of our project. So, for successful realization of the project, we had established 3 groups. The first one is a technical group, and the members are from the Poznan Supercomputing Center and from the Institute of Informatics and Automation Problems of here in Armenia. The second group consists of content developers from the Fundamental Scientific Library, and as Tomasz mentioned, already 8,000 digital objects are in the repository. The third group consists of system librarians. Here we do have 2 system librarians from the Fundamental Scientific Library, and they are in close cooperation with Poznan colleagues and from Institute of Informatics and Automation Problems colleagues from those groups. Actually, we do have more than 113,000 digital objects from our old system. These are only academic articles with full text materials attached to them, which was developed using ePrint system, and now we are in a process of transition from old system to the new one. Until the end of the year, we will be able to finish that work, and we'll have a huge amount of academic data there. Also, some books are waiting to be academic books to be imported into that database, and after this, we will invite librarians from the Matenadaran, from this institution, and from the Genocide Institute to join our activities to add more digital objects in this repository. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to mention that this is a nice collaboration and has also future, because we have in Matenadaran, and I hope that you will have your collaboration continuation in that. Thanks. We have very short time for questions if you have. To move on to the speakers. No? Anytime. I think if you have questions, you can approach during the break. And now please enjoy your coffee break for 15 minutes.